Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. We got some League of Legends upper bracket action coming your way. My name is Kyle Corvus Crow. I'm joined by Jeff Zeta Schnurr, and we are ready to rock and roll on this with the University of Manitoba coming up against Robert Morris University, JV.
Yeah, and this has been maybe a bit of a long time coming for those of you who have watched some of these JV games. We caught a lot of Manitoba's games through the upper bracket. We caught some of them in the Winter Invitational, and this is actually a little bit of a throwback, right? This is sort of a rematch. They met in the Winter Invitational as well, so maybe looking for a little bit of revenge. We'll see if they can actually get it this time around, because after all, RMU, they still got some stacked rosters coming out, so, Godpa, Zyle, both master as it currently stands. The ranks certainly do seem to line up, but early into the season, right? It is very early into the season to be making judgments like that. What we should be making judgments on instead is their records. Robert Morris University so far have gotten a pretty impressive run. When they dropped that game, when they dropped that set, they did win game number 1 of the set and then lost the next 2. In the playoffs so far, though, they've never had that problem. They won against Ryerson, SJSU, Temple, and UCSC International's Noodle team. Gotta be able to throw down the dough and bring it for the show. After all, they did lose against Illinois in the regular season, but this is not Illinois. This is Manitoba. Manitoba made quite an impressive run so far, and as we take a look at their record as it currently stands, we can see that they only dropped in the round of 4, the semifinals, and that was to Johns Hopkins, who did, after all, go on to win the Winter Invitational. They're currently basically the strongest roster we've seen in JV, so if one of your only losses is to them, the other one, Wichita State, in a 2-1 in the regular season, same record as RMU, actually, dropping 1 game to a team that's actually lower seeded than them overall. Still pretty impressive. Now, this is going to be one of the show-stopping games. I think if you want to talk about 2 top teams coming to a head, Manitoba definitely bringing their A game, but if RMU show up, right, this is anybody's game to win, anybody's series.
Absolutely. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find 2 teams more evenly matched than these 2. It's a lot on plates for both of them, but RMU, they're the ones looking to make the vengeance statement, take down Manitoba. Whether or not they can do it, well, that is another question entirely, as these players are getting ready to get on into draft fairly soon. Who's going to walk away with the glory from this field? As it is going to be the University of Manitoba over on the blue side to start things off. Robert Morris taken to the red side of the rift, and the pans already on the table. We'll see what comes out here. We'll see if they go for a general direction, get very specific against some of these Robert Morris players, but that's a Vel'Koz taken out right out and away. They do not want to see Kyoto play.
You don't have that.
So the Vel'Koz has kind of been rising in popularity. A lot of teams are taking it as essentially a all-encompassing shredder. It doesn't matter if you have a tank line. It doesn't matter if you have a Braum. It doesn't matter if you have, multiple squishy damage dealers. All he does is he's going to throw down a bit of interrupt, bit of AoE, and then just drop the ultimate. And you have to kill him or disrupt it, right? If you don't kill him or disrupt it, you have to run away from the fight and then re-engage later, so he's getting guaranteed damage. It's essentially a very long-range burst mage, right? As opposed to the Xerath, which is more of a poke. You gotta stack some of those things, get it all down over time. One combo from the Vel'Koz, and your AD dies.
Well, speaking of burst mages, there go the LeBlanc and the Zoe, one on either side, so it's a fairly heavy target towards that AP controlling mage style in the mid lane there. Neither Kyoto or Kept going to be able to bring those to the table. And last ban now coming up for the first phase with the Urgot solo laner. They do not want to see darken their doorstep, so AD, support, jungle, all reasonably unfazed throughout this particular ban phase. Only the Lucian thus far on the side of RMU. It's going to be leaving some options open for first pick here for Tiger Clown. And
it's got to be a jungle ban, right? They've got to go for, I think, a ban towards the side of I'm thinking maybe the Alistar. Okay, well, that's a support ban. It's definitely a first pickable champion. It's definitely something that you don't really want to give over, especially once the Lucian's already taken off the table. You want to say, okay, if we can't punish them, we don't want them to have an even safer lane. So taking that away, making sure that they can't actually do much of anything with it, probably a pretty good idea. The Vladimir, though, it's been back and forth. You know, this hasn't been just an instant win champion, but it has been some of the most consistent 1 versus 9 potential that we've seen. We say that word a lot, right? 1 versus 9 means this is a essentially hard carry, almost win condition champion, right? If you're playing well, if you're getting fed, you're going to be doing most of your team's work for them, right? So with the Vladimir locked in, response is going to be on the Lissandra side of things, and I'm not sure if that's the best idea.
Well,
because
Lissandra, Ezreal, I mean, two people that have been consistently banned throughout a lot of this. They've been obviously changed with
double
this
tier,
last patch, or at least the Ezreal has. Yeah.
Double tier is gone. I think that's the most crucial aspect of this. Double tier is gone. So the fact that there's no double tier build, right, means that Ezreal has lost a lot of his inherent power. He doesn't just win the game anymore. You know, you don't just get to farm out, get your 3 items, and instantly pop anybody. He still does great damage. He's still very consistent, but it's back to being the old school Ezreal, right? The blue Ez, I say old school, blue Ez is still relatively new, but old school Ezreal, when you get blue Ez, you get consistent, always on damage. You know, he is, as described by, I think it was Uzi, the best AD carry in the game, the best hyper carry in the game, because he can't die, right? If you're not dead, you're always the best AD. So having the Ezreal, having that consistent damage, definitely going to be a good look for RMU. The one thing I'm worried about is into Morgana Vayne, if Ezreal ever tries to do anything in lane, he's going to get punished for it, right? You can't just walk in. Hail of Blades means that Vayne gets a free auto trade. She gets the Silver Bolts proc every single time, potentially a double Silver Bolt proc if you don't have your E up and you're not willing to flash. And at that point, things are getting a little bit dicey. So you throw in a Morgana binding, potentially pool damage or Comet, you know, expecting her to take that as well. She's going to be contributing quite a bit as well. So, you know, expecting something along the lines of an engage support, probably not what RMU wants to do. They need some kind of a disengage, maybe a roamer even. The likelihood of picking up this Janna, I think pretty high here. It's, you know, consistently safe. It allows the Ezreal to just farm. You could go with the Soraka as well. Whatever it has to be to just let him farm out, you know? But if they go for an engage support, there's nothing saying they can't pair it with a jungler that does the same thing. Nocturne, Zac, these are, you know, very long-range engage champions. They can punch towards the bot side. They can really affect these lanes. Aatrox banned out, even though they have Lissandra and Ryze selected, though. I'm not really sure I like that pick, because usually you'd ban Aatrox out, right? If you're saying, okay, well, they don't have a top laner. They do have a top laner. It's the Ryze, right? He's already here. He's already locked in. So, given that they already have shown their hand, you know, they've shown what they want to play, whether Ryze goes top or Lissandra goes top, you know they're not going to pick the Aatrox most likely unless there's been something that Zyle's been cooking up. You know, he's been playing some Aatrox jungle, surprising us. Remains to be seen, but with the Syndra removed, they're kind of expecting Vlad to go top at this point.
They're going to lock down the J4 in the jungle here, just to get ready to go with it. That's going to have a harder time tanking the Vladimir once the pool's just in full effect, but Jarvan off to an early enough start before his Cataclysm can get some things moving and a groove in there. He's not going to have an easy time on just about any of these lanes should the Ahri lock in, but
I don't.
Yeah, I sincerely
okay, there we go.
One. So if they lock in the Mundo here, that's going to be
much better.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how they round out the composition. But right now,
it has to be like
this is becoming such a front line here for this Vayne that you know that the strategy for University of Manitoba is going to be farm to team fight. Right?
I'm thinking Sedge. I'm thinking Sejuani. I really like the Sejuani in this situation because you have Sedge, right? Then you can say, okay, if we're ever going to get into a team fight, we have so much CC, such a big front line, that the Vayne and the Vladimir are just going to do damage. The Skarner pickup.
Okay.
We've seen this floated a couple times, but we've never seen it really hard locked in. People have been theorizing about what the best way is, you know, to lock down some of these damage carries, to get some of these picks. That's a pretty good way, right? You can pick the Lissandra, you can pick the Ryze out of his ultimate, you can take the Ezreal with you for a joyride, whatever you need to do. Skarner's going to have that innate pick potential. If you have an advantage in the numerical side of things, right? If you're a tank line and a Vayne and a Vladimir, and you're fighting a 5 versus 4 team fight, you win that every time. So with the Galio lock-in, we're going to see the last champion selected from RMU. Still a pretty good support. Problem is, of course, he doesn't really do that much in lane. He can't really just make an Ezreal win. But Ezreal on TP doesn't need to win. You know, he doesn't care about the lane. He doesn't care about pushing it out. It doesn't matter if Vayne gets a couple items because Ezreal gets his items faster. So as long as he's getting his 2 items faster, he's getting to, the Muramana plus his Frozen Fist extremely quickly. I think this is still a very good mid-game composition. The problem is
global composition coming out for RMU, right? They're fast and they're everywhere.
They've got great rotational skill. They've got great macro. We've seen RMU before, right? Their mechanical play sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired, but every single time, right? Their macro play delivers. And that's really how they've drugged themselves out of so many losing games, so many bad situations. So as we load onto the Rift, we're going to look to see if RMU can actually make that happen yet again, right? This time, though, it's not about the late game macro, right? It's not about RMU just being able to rotate, just being able to get this pick and rotate and then win the late game. Because if it gets to late game, they just lose. I don't think there's really any way you can say reliably you're going to be beating out of Vayne. Maybe if you get the lucky Lissandra pick, right? The Jarvan dive, the Galio CC, the Lissandra CC, it all stacks up. It all adds up over time. There's a possibility in which you do actually get a pick on her. If you do, if she overextends, they can still win the late game. But I really don't think they want to let it get there.
No, both teams looking to kind of shut this one down before it gets too far in, before their opponent gets too many chances here to take it all away. And that's what they're both coming on this Rift today to do. RMU over on the red side getting the start off. It is, of course, Manitoba on the blue side. We'll go through the names just to make sure you know who it is. Tiger Clown in the top side, Captain Snarfles in the jungle, Kept in the mid lane, Solya in the AD role, and True North repping that support.
Very interesting. I wouldn't say this is a standard advance from RMU, because they're also kind of pushing in a bit, They're really taking chances. If the entire side of Manitoba was to, be at that blue, to be walking up, maybe a little bit of a late invade. Oh, so the thing is, I don't think the Skarner things are globally shown anymore.
Okay.
So you can't tell where they're taken.
So RMU should have no idea about this.
Yeah, they might have absolutely no idea. I think that was a patch change that came out very recently. And once they see this, they're definitely going to try to pounce. Here's the pinch.
They should have the pinch coming down. Mundo gets the slow with the cleaver. He's got to be careful, especially as he is early. They've got God, but he's in some trouble here. Nice root coming downtown.
Oh, and that's not the person you want to give it over to, right? The Vayne takes the kill, and that... Oh, it's exactly the wrong thing happening at the wrong time. The wrong neighborhood, really, for God. But Soya is going to take that and be happy going all the way down to the bank with it. No leash needed on the Skarner. He's actually rather self-sufficient on this first buff clear. And he maintains a pretty good health pool while doing it, but not to mention, they're just late to late, right? They're going to lose at least 3-4 minions. Ezreal already on 4-5. As this wave pushes into turret, they're potentially going to lose even more of them. And now they're getting zoned out of this lane, too.
Yeah, Soya get beat up a little bit. That's a nice second binding following up now.
It's true.
Yeah, on par with those Qs.
Already landed 100% more bindings than the Morganas in my solo queue.
Hey, there you go, right? Air Morgana, R Morgana, you know the difference. Well, this time, it's University of Manitoba's Morgana all coming to play. We'll see whether or not Fortune can keep up in this supporting role, keep them on the back foot, because they already do have some nice pressure. You mentioned it, the CS lead, definitely there already for Crash, and wants to build that out, wants to keep that Ezreal moving and grooving, because you talked about him getting ahead. It's just what he's going to do, but the speed at which he can do it is very important when you factor in there's a big tanky Mundo getting tankier and a Vladimir that somewhat of a time bomb himself over on the opposing side of it. So, a lot to consider here. The go button from this mobile comp of RMU feels like they need to get closer and closer to something they need to push if they want to keep up, especially having given up that first blood already. But here's a gank coming in onto Kep. They want to find Xyle. Force the flash already. There's the flag and drag. The pool will get him out safely. And Kep stays alive at the cost of a very expensive summoner.
It's a pretty big summoner to pick up that early. I mean, if you want to talk about ways to get ahead, right, ways to get an advantage, that's certainly one of them. You need to, start ganking the Vladimir early. He only has a couple tools to disengage, and with that pressure, I mean, certainly Zane could, or Zine, I don't actually know the pronunciation, but he could certainly apply more and more pressure to this mid lane, get a bunch of advantages there, and then hopefully make sure that his Lissandra can actually, do what is necessary to really take a lead, make sure that the Vladimir doesn't just get free farm, free advantages, scale into his 16th power spike nightmare form without some kind of punish, but Captain Snarfles is trying to respond top lane.
Garapa trying to get out of this one, but is stunned up, is slowed down. I don't think there's any way he gets out. Could maybe get the kill onto Tiger Clown, though. Tries for it with the fancy flash. Does not take it at the end of the day, and will give back over some of that. Doesn't impact his lane too harshly. It's another assist to the Mundo. Tiger Clown's going to be feeling good about that one, but that's a kill over to Captain Snarfles. Not gonna be fighting
it's also
lane.
flash.
Right.
I think that's more important, right? We talked about the Summoner mid. Summoner top. Ryze is extremely immobile. He doesn't have the option that the Vladimir does, right? If CC comes in, Vladimir goes, oh, pool, right? Then you have to expend another form to get him again. So, unlike the Vlad, who has temporary intangibility, as it were, the Ryze doesn't. The Ryze is immobile, he is a stand-up mage, he doesn't have any kind of flash, dash, escape, or intangible. So, with that flash being down, it's a lot more costly, and with top lane being a longer lane, it's much easier to run him down. But Zyle's back in the mid lane, counter gang from Snarfles.
Yeah, they saw this one coming. They pinged out Zyle a long ways back when he was hiding in that brush. Captain Snarfles was ready for this 2v1. Flag and drag says Zyle, maybe not as much, just going to back that one off. Doesn't want to give up the blue buff, doesn't want to risk giving over any more kills. As of course, the University of Manitoba are already up a handsome 2-0 right now. Not too much in the way of a gold lead, only about 100 splitting, and you could think a lot of the CS difference in the bot lane and the mid thus far, and surprisingly, the 2 death Rise as well. Not so crazy to be out farming the Mundo, but just not been put on the back foot by those 2 ganks, those 2 interferences that he felt. Still just grinding away. Has a tier, has where he's trying to go item-wise, and good shot at clawing right back into things.
Yeah, the more mana he gets, of course, the more damage he's going to do, but he's also, relatively tanky for a mage. He gets quite a large health pool, and scaling's pretty okay as well, so it's not like Mundo just instantly runs him down right? He needs some kind of the boots or other items to survive the onslaught of damage, etc., or maybe a Skarner assist, and Skarner, speaking of assists, he's reading this perfectly. He's back up towards the top lane to punish again.
Wants to find his avoided vision thus far, and maybe can just sneak in a little
no
further.
6.
Can't get the CC. Gotta playing safe enough in his lane here. Knows that that's just a deep ward from Mundo to make sure. Say deep, that's a relatively safe ward from Mundo to make sure he's not going to get popped in on by Zyle, asking how his day was out of nowhere, but it's a good amount of time here.
Nothing worse than small talk after all,
Oh,
just
no. We're here to play
the absolute worst thing in the world is, when the enemy jungler tries to make small talk, and you're just not in the mood. You've had a long day. You really don't want to talk about it. You just want to farm. It's just the worst. But fortunately for him, the supervillain Gregarious Man has not shown up yet. He is still in the bottom side. He's actually making friends with the dragon right now. And as Zyle continues to get acquainted with him, the dragon is going to give him a buff. That's how good friends they already are. He's only been there for like 30 seconds.
It's going to be the first Infernal Drake coming down for him. Gotta feel very nice to get that 6% something back in the corner now of Robert Morris University. The farms tilting their way in most places on the map, but the kills just not there yet. No other objectives really even taken around, so to speak. I don't think a single turret plate has been taken thus far in this game. It's just both teams ready, willing, and able to farm to the best of their abilities.
Skarner is 6th, though. I think that's the biggest problem, right? Where does he go? If he actually watch this pinch down the side, there's 2 in the red, but there's 4 coming up.
Yeah, this is going to be massive. They don't know that they're spotted out here. Zyle, that's
flash
the flash forward. Captain Snarfles has got him. There's no blast cone for Kyoto either, so he's going to be bound up. Bad news, but can get over the wall with the claw there. I'm surprised no one on the side of RMU has been taken down for this one yet. They didn't have the follow-up on Manitoba. And RMU, I don't want to say scot-free for that one, but they do
certainly freer than it should have been. Right?
Well, Captain Snarfles blew his flash for that one, right? And then
he did. He used flash. He flash ulted the Jarvan. The problem is, you can flash ult the Jarvan all you want. You still have to stop him once he flags and drags over the wall. The problem being, multiple members went on to Kyuzo. The damage was split, and because the damage was split, because Kyuzo had, ultimate, which he didn't even use, by the way, because he has, Aftershock, Ultimate Claw, he still gets out, gets away for basically no summoners burned. The Jarvan doesn't burn any summoners either. Really free engage for RMU, and again, look at this engage. The priority mid lane lets the Lissandra roam so often.
Ooh, speaking of roam, well, here's Zyle coming right in onto Tiger Clown. This could be bad news for the Mundo, and he almost answers back. But Zyle staying alive at just the edge of the knife there. Gets the first point on the board now for Robert Morris University. The Eagles are coming back with something here. And Gadapa is actually happy to fight Snarfles here. He feels like he can get the advantage. He's 2 levels up. And with his combo, does make that one happen. Proxies the wave and takes a plate off the turret. He's going to force this teleport in from Tiger Clown. He can walk right on back. He can stick around. He has all the options in the world right now. Gadapa feeling great about his position in this top lane, and now he's got a nice little CS lead to show for it.
Yeah, CS lead. He's got a kill advantage. Realistically, the kill is probably nullified by the 2 assists, but even so, right? You look at the way that Robert Morris is playing this macro game. Micro-wise, they're still losing kills, right? They lost 2 kills early. That happened. We mentioned that in the pregame lobby. But their macro has sharpened up a bit, right? The mid lane getting better priority. Their jungler, their mid combo working so well together to get pressure onto this Skarner makes him now not down in levels, but he was so behind in his timings that he couldn't actually help out, right? He gets behind. He's not actually able to fight the Rise, even though he's proxy waving, because his mid laner is not following, right? His mid laner was just completely zoned out of that fight. It wasn't anywhere in time to deal with it, and he wasn't there in time to save his Mundo either. So, given all of that, right, given all of the timing advantages just generated by wave pressure, by a bunch of things by RMU, I'm going to say that they're playing this mid game a little bit cleaner, but that little bit might be all the difference.
Definitely the extra mile that makes so much of the make or break in League of Legends. That's what RMU are looking to actualize here throughout their game plan, and maybe part of that is going to be Zyle roaming on down here, wants to get it. He's going to go over the ward, so it's just a little bit of a vision war here, but they are playing it on 2 fronts here, as Kyuzo is coming in as well. I mean, it's this entire bottom half of the map, and then they're leaving Gadapa up top to just fight around with Tiger Clown as best as he can, as best he wants to. They're happy to do this as long as it takes. Still, a long while. Muno's going to get any form of tanky. When
Yep, 1 versus 2.
On to Zyle. Yeah, that's actually the pool and flash all at once to get out of the combo from Zyle here. The flag and drags back up. Did he get the blast cone? Who knows? Because here comes Galio coming right on down into the fight. No, getting out of the fight as he's trying to get away from Captain Snarfles there. Looked like aggression was defense there. Tripping up just a little bit, but Solya not going to get his kill this time around. True North with the bindings was not there when it counted, and no flash ultimate from Snarfles, as he did still have it on cooldown from the last time in his own bot side jungle. So great play defensively from Robert Morris. Crash and Porcher staying alive how they need to, but Snarfles is not gone anywhere. He's still here and wants to come in. He's going to chase him out yet right again.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that he didn't leave there, that he didn't back early enough, because this is how Robert Morris is getting an advantage, right? They see Snarfle's bot, they just keep him there. They keep him there. They keep forcing, they keep pressuring, and then he's forced to stay because his lane is so low that he doesn't have a choice. So top lane then is, yeah, he's dropping a bit low, right? But more importantly, he had to back the turret falling so low because of his repeated backs, his, being forced off of this lane, that now they can dive him, take the turret, and get the kill.
Yeah, here comes trouble. It's going to happen just like that. They dive him, they get the kill, then they take the turret. So just a little bit out of order. Actually, no, they're going to let the turret stand. Got to get rid of these minions, got to bring your own in. It's a large political discussion here.
Dragon's given over, but, I mean, that's first turret plus all 5 plates on it for an Ocean Drake. Certainly not the worst trade in the world if you're RMU, and I think realistically, if this had been an Infernal, it might have been a little bit closer, especially given the scaling nature of the composition that was already selected, but as of right now, definitely not what, flash forwards, and he gets pinned.
Yeah, Forger in a little bit of trouble there. He was going for some aggression there,
that.
and aggression found him on the other end. Solya,
one auto
shot should get this. Can he get it with the flash? The answer is yes. He will trade his own life for it, though. It's the double kill for the single return back, but meanwhile, in the mid lane, this is the Rift Herald. He's been taking one. This is going to be a charge on the second. Beautifully done. Robert Morris definitely coming away in the gold discussion. It's 2 very important kills given over to Soya as that Vayne, so it does complicate the conversation a little bit when they'll talk about who walked out of that one ahead, but still by most metrics, Robert Morris making the better of this situation. They're still down a kill. They have 2 unanswered turrets here. The Ocean Drake putting it back onto the side of Manitoba a little bit, but it is just the Ocean Drake.
It's a fantastic lead for Robert Morris. Right there in mid-game composition, they have Ezreal almost at his 2 items already. That's going to be the strongest he's going to get, right? Soon as Vayne gets 2 items, Ezreal doesn't compete anymore. His damage output just doesn't matter. So Ezreal's going to be at his strongest point very, very soon. Lissandra almost at her 2 item spike. Ryze already at 2 item. That's super, super scary if you're on the side of Manitoba, because this composition is almost already coming into its own. 2 to 3 items, that's where they're the strongest, right? Any point past that, Manitoba's got a real shot at coming back into this. So the next 10 minutes are going to be crucial. If Robert Morris can end this game, realistically, before it hits the 30-minute mark, obviously, if they end the game, they're going to win, right? But that's their best chance to win. If they don't, if they let it slide, if they let it go a bit long in the tooth, then realistically, I think Manitoba are probably going to take this one. So look for the early end, look for the pressure by RMU, more aggression by Xyle.
Happy to do it. Flag, drag, Cataclysm to get the Mundo Flash. That's a big enough one, especially with his ult down as well. He's not going to be using any of that aggressively on you, and the tower is all yours all day. Kyotso, though, tried to get out of that one. The Suppress is going to make sure he doesn't. 4th kill for Vayne. And now Porcher's in here. He's trying to get more with the Blast Cone to get out, perhaps, was the play he wanted. Ryze now deep in enemy territory. Got it, but what tricks do you have up your sleeve to get out of this one? The answer is none, as Captain Snarfles picks up the 2nd kill of this fight now. It's a 2-for-0. A play that Robert Morris tried to make Manitoba come up big on the punish.
It's, maybe Manitoba said, you know, I don't feel like I like the idea of waiting that long to get an advantage. I don't really want to, you know, make my Vayne have to wait for her 2-item spike. Let's just force another fight. And realistically, whether or not they were the ones to truly force this, I think that can be argued, because of the way RMU were really pressuring into the jungle this entire time. You know, they're always searching for vision. They're always searching for invades. This time, though, it doesn't go their way, right? Vayne getting more kills, terrifying. You don't want to see this. You don't want this to happen. So RMU got to tighten the buckle a bit and say, okay, instead of giving Vayne kills, let's focus all of our power into picking her. We have Lissandra's with a flash. We've got, you know, summoners, CC. We got boundless amounts of stopwatches that'll keep us alive. If we do full dive this fight, let's dive it. Let's put the Vayne behind. Let's stop her roll for just a little bit, and then try to get her composition online and end the game before she really matters.
It's easier said than done, but still on the menu here for Robert Morris, something that they definitely need to make happen. We'll see whether the Eagles can turn that on its head and get this Vayne. They've been tiptoeing around this lane swap, right? They don't know exactly how much they want to commit to one. They were happy to push against this Mundo earlier. Now, a little bit of a longer trek back up to the top side of things, but you've got Crash now hanging around the mid lane hanging around the top. We're all out of sorts, we're all out of whack. That's okay, as long as they can stay alive. And Gyotso smells out this game. We'll see whether or not he can really do much about it. He won't be able to save much of his jungle should Garner and Captain Snarfles want to fire away in that one. It's going to be suppressed before the self-ult can even get off. Didn't have the ult. There it is, just in time. But is it going to be enough to stopwatch Vladimir too? As well? Beautifully done. They've blown everything.
Oh my gosh.
To live to fight another day. That's a lot to use on just staying alive, but does it very well. Snarfles Captain are going to have to walk away empty-handed this time around, and it's got to be a little frustrating if you're Manitoba.
This is... I mean, so the thing is, right, this is the reason stopwatch is so strong. Because for 600 gold, you not only negate a kill, but you use time, right? You're spending their resources, because now once they use all their summoners, once they use, you know, the flash for the engage, the ultimates, whatever it is, that's stuff that they can't just get back, you know? So you're spending gold for their time. And so at that point, you're saying, okay, well, was it worth the trade? At this point, ooh, Zoya might be getting caught. Now 3, we're talking about the dive, here it comes.
Coming in on the True North, wanting to get more out of that one. Already down. The kill goes over into the hands of Gabga. Wanting to get
Soya
more.
Too close.
This is going to be Soya having to be careful here. This is it. He's right back in. Can you get it? Can you finish the job? Galio makes it happen with the delay, making the kill happen easy for Crash. More to come now. Tiger Clown. He's tanky, but he's not that tanky. Another one for Gadapa here. He's 4-3-1 all of a sudden. And now it may be just going down, but Gyotso goes way deep for it and might lose his own life, does just by the tick of things. And same perhaps for Zyle. Kept gonna get out of this one. Are you kidding me? They push way too hard and give up to absolutely unnecessary deaths at the end of it, but look at that crash from downtown. Makes the 3-point shot and gets this tower easy.
Yeah, and that's RMU. They recognize the fact that they have a timer, right? They recognize the fact that their win condition doesn't last for forever. Eventually, that Vayne fight, it's not just going to be, oh, she tumbles a couple times, right? She's going to have Rage Blade. You die if you let the Vayne stay alive that long, and she has 2 items, or 3 items, or 5 items. So, in that sense, well played by RMU. They recognize their time window. They're starting to take advantage of it. They're saying, okay, force the fights, kill the Vayne, get the advantage, get the turrets, end this game. And if they can do it, they certainly have the ability, right? They've got the actual macro play. They just have to continue to do this, and they will be able to close this game out.
Well, a lot of game ahead of both of these teams. I don't think either's in a position where they can really just flip on the kill switch just yet, although 15 seconds from now, a friend called Baron Nasher is going to be coming up on this map and maybe making the difference. A little early for either of these teams to consider getting that group, getting that fight, and turning that on, but we are entering a state of the game where there really is no turning back from here on out. Every fight's going to matter a lot more, and Manitoba definitely won't be able to give up fights like that. Conversely, Robert Morris think twice about following up heavily as they did this last time around, but they want to get kept. It's another beautiful shot, but this time the pool was there just in time, and turning it around is Captain Snarfle's getting the kill onto Zyle here. Gadapa now trying to stay alive, trying to do what he's doing right, but Crash on the background. Ash is made to deal with, and beautiful timing. Doesn't chase the Ezreal, instead goes right for Gadapa, gets the kill here. Morgana gets the credit, but it's all Vayne all day. That's the story here, and Solya has made this one happen. Crash maybe stuck around a little too long, too. They're going to get chased right off this Baron. He's got the flash. It's beautifully done. Crash, where can you go?
Does he?
Just like that. He is going to be out of this one with Gyotso. Ooh, what aggression coming out from Manitoba. They are not slowing down. They are not stopping. They're chasing them right out and away.
They're Baroning, but the J4 is up, right? The problem is, if they don't get this Baron, they're going to lose, right? If they lose the Baron, if the J4 steals it, they don't win this game, because then that's everything that they've needed to finish the game off, right? They just need Baron buff, be able to stop this wave clear. They don't really have much of it, right? Vladimir is not much wave clear at all. The Vayne doesn't really do much of anything because she doesn't have any kind of AoE. She's not Jinx. She doesn't have Renons. It's not going to happen. And now the time comes for the Baron to turn on its head. They're going to see these wards going down. But will they actually go and try to contest? Manitoba are now the ones who have to pressure RMU off the Big Snake.
This is a big call for RMU because they're not going to be able to shred this thing any faster. Every member will be in the vicinity to either try to fight or
Predator soon.
One up, but can they get it? That's going to be the suppressed up. They're trying to turn it for the fight. Gyotso, though, has to be careful. Baron's still on the focus. Darwin does get it. It is down now. There's going to be more to come. That's already Vladimir gone down in this fight. Maybe Solya as well. He's trapped up. He's so low. And they do get the kill. Tiger Clown going to be the next one to fall. Captain Snarfle's on the way out of this fight, maybe out of this game, as they are now absolutely able to pressure from Robert Morris University. I think they'll want to back off. They did give the Jarvan out and away. A tower teleport in the top side seems to be the target that they're looking for, and just like that, it's just an instant refresh. Gyotso not out of this fight at all, just taking a brief little breather back at the base. And they're going to be knocking on the door of more than one tower here. Look at that. Captain Snarfle ran down already preemptively just towards the dragon. I don't know if he was trying to wait out that entire time, mistiming it or what, but didn't back. That tower was lost. Nobody from the side of Manitoba seemed to have had an answer, and really, they only give up Zyle's life for that. It's a trade they're easily willing to make on the side of Robert Morris University. Now Drake going to be their next possible point of fighting. I don't actually love that from RMU. Put one or two members, kind of stall it out, but get those lanes maxing that Baron time.
Yeah.
It's an Infernal Drake. It's an important one.
I mean, the really interesting thing so far is Manitoba still has a kill lead from all of their aggression, but now pressuring onto the second Infernal of the game. Mundo gets caught.
Ooh, yeah, no chance of surviving out that one. Popped his ultimate, but it just gave him the extra 20% damage they were looking for right onto his head, and the Infernal Drake secured out and away without a single problem. Coming out now into the hands of the University of Manitoba. They're feeling, Robert Morris University, they're feeling great about their chances here against the University of Manitoba. Priming out now. Big wave here in this bottom lane, taking away what they can of the jungle in the meantime. This is efficient, the way they're playing, stripping options away, especially knowing now that Solya, the biggest threat by far on the side of Manitoba, is stuck on minion duty in the top lane, just policing this, making sure it doesn't get any worse.
This is, again, it's just about the timing. Rise, potentially caught here, definitely caught here. No way he lives through the Vayne damage.
He's in some trouble. That's going to be Baron buff off of one of these guys. Almost certainly he's not getting out of that one. Goodbye.
Oh, Vayne wasn't there. That was actually Vladimir. The capes look so familiar. Forgive me there, but Snare lands onto Ezreal, and if he actually does get autoed too much, he's going to drop in one more, and they pick him off. Now the Predator comes out.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get more Kyotso in some real trouble here. He actually takes his E back in just to make sure that he stalls up enough time. Yeah, it's a good enough play to get his homies out of that one. He's laying down everything now to make sure that Poracher and Zyle get out of that one okay, but giving up Crash, giving up Gadapa, giving up Kyotso, I mean, that's a lot on the side of RMU to have to give up there, and certainly they've got every tower outside of the base now. It's only inhibitor and Nexus turrets remaining, and really not much of that last bottom inhibitor turret. But at what cost? Because those 3 deaths, it's a lot of time. They actually going to get a tower bounce back here. That's not at all what they were looking for. They're on Manitoba to capitalize this.
I mean, Manitoba getting themselves power off of it, it's the start, right? That was the first tower they've taken this entire game. But every comeback has to start somewhere, you know? So the fact is, RMU have not closed this game out yet. They haven't shut the door on Manitoba, and they need to do so relatively soon. The problem being, of course, Vayne's about to get her 3rd item. If that happens, if you're on a 3-item Vayne, then you're really worried. If you're on a 4-item Vayne, you might as well say, okay, we'll give you an Ezreal, and we'll trade you the Vayne. You know, just get a great trade, great value for yourselves, have them more damage than the rest of your team, win the 4v4. That's certainly possible, but if you just want to straight up fight them, if you don't get access, if you don't get a pick, oh, Tiger Clown, he flashes away again, almost getting brought down, but this time he doesn't.
Keeping that flash hold on the back foot is important for the side of RMU, and I think they're willing to keep it at the cost of the Cataclysm. Tiger Clown, though, maybe in some real more trouble here. Zyle's just going to run right under him, under tower. No ultimate this time to save your life, Mundo. No one to get your bacon covered there, and that's going to be meaning the tower goes down here in the bottom lane. Inhibitor, first one of the game, exposed now. Credit to Robert Morris University. They're keeping their siege alive, Baron or no. They still maintain the same amount of pressure. They still maintain this massive threat. It's keeping Solya, Snarfle's afraid to go in. Nice timing made change. That a great taunt, though, to keep in over onto Kepler, trying to keep on the back foot, and that Snarfle's going down. Galio just getting the dunk on the inhibitor for style points and nothing else. Maybe able to take the game here. I mean, seriously. This is, no minions. So have to back it off. Zyle, not going to be a problem here. They are going to take this tower, though. This could be another inhibitor.
That's a very surprising double inhibitor play. Right, look at the blue minions. They're already pushed up. These came from a different lane.
Kemp's doing what he can to save this, but they're trying to get out of that one. It's a big root. The redemption coming down onto this one. Gadapa is trying to maintain the cover out of here, but look at this. It's already Vayne coming on through. Did go down for that one, though, and now Tiger Town is going to be the next one coming through. True North having to flash out of this one. No chance. That's going to be the double kill. The next inhibitor falling as
they don't
well.
have any minions.
Ooh.
They do. They have one. They could end this, but they have to tank it. They don't have anyone to tank it.
No, they're just trying to prime up this wave in the bot lane.
Ooh,
that could
flash
be
from the
Zip crashes not carefully here. Captain Snarfles, he wants to drag somebody back, and it's going to be Gadapa at the end of the day. All that shielding, not going to do enough to save him there, as Kept is going to be the next one to fall in this fight easily.
Oh my gosh.
Crash is so far online here at 8, 2, and 6, but you have to wonder, are they overstaying? Vayne is up in 5 seconds. They're tunnel visioning very hard onto this tower. I don't like where this is going. RMU, they may have stayed just a little too long, but I think they will get it out. At the last possible second. They do make it happen.
They get out for that one, and if the turret doesn't die, obviously, it's still doable. With one Nexus turret alive, the game is much, much harder. With none alive, basically impossible. But at 28 minutes, RMU, they're getting purchased, right? They're getting very slow, grinding advances into the base of Manitoba, but so far, the problem still has been, how do you kill Soya? Unless he overextends like he did that last fight, he goes after somebody solo, just straight dies, right? They haven't been able to kill him. He's always made the mistake to die. So if he doesn't make a mistake, where does the purchase come from, right? Does it come from J4 ulting in? You know, he hasn't managed to find, like, basically any EQs since, like, 15 minutes. The Baron, though, could be the answer to all of them. Instead of worrying about the Vayne, just worry about the base.
They definitely have the tools at their disposal to do it. The mid lane and bot lane inhibitors pushing are perfect for Baron. They're the furthest away. Keeping all the targets busy. Nothing to even bother coming close to contesting this one on the side of the University of Manitoba. It means RMU feeling good about this first Baron. Now they just need to march it down the top lane. They can do this as a unit. They will have all 3 inhibitors out for the count. Meanwhile, while Manitoba are defending it, that bot lane is going to get ever closer to that one very weak Nexus tower. I mean, it's just textbook League of Legends play happening here. They're only splitting with Gadapa to keep things consistent at this point, to keep the pressure everywhere evenly distributed. But it's a problem if they're trying to 4v5 just like that. Diotso is taken out, and it's a huge kill for Soya there. Baron off of one big disrespect. This has broken the push, effectively.
It really has. I mean, the Rise is in the mid lane. He's still shoving it in. But unless they have a way to actually hard CC Vayne, which was the Lissandra ult, how did they really do it, you know? Do they just kind of give up the push? I'm thinking that's probably the idea, because if you overextend, if you die here, the game could just completely be thrown.
Right. I mean, there's no Baron to take back, thankfully, if they manage to get wiped here on the side of Robert Morris.
The buffs don't transfer.
Yeah, they would lose, I would say, minimum 3 turrets, maybe 4 here, if they did get wiped on this one. They have a lot of pressure, but Tiger Cloud on Mundo could very easily, along with Snarfles, tank out any of these towers on this map if need be. Well, now here's the teleport coming through. Diotso was able to be held off long enough to TP in on this one, and maybe they can just rekindle this push right where it left off, because this tower's not looking too good. This time Rise has already primed well and on the bottom side of things, maybe trying to get in just on the Mundo, just keeping it alive. He is going to teleport. That's going to be the inhibitor, giving you some real trouble for Diotso. Going to die yet again to kick things off.
Crash
another one in the hands of Vayne.
Or not.
But Soya on the back line. What can you do? Nice play thus far. Is he going to get Zyle? That's going to be another one for him. Holy cow, does get traded out for it at the very end. But this has got to put now in some real trouble on the back end of things. I don't think just Crash can manage this one by himself. Has to back it off. Porcher going to do what he can, but no, that's going to be the Ezreal going to go down.
That's going to be the Galio down.
Manitoba,
look at the base. The supers are still coming.
They absolutely are, but they should be able to hold off this last tower, I believe so. It's a perfect spawn time coming out to help Manitoba. That minion wave of their own coming in to ride or die with
spawning in the next minute.
Oh, man. Wow.
If the inhibitors come back up, right, this is a doable game. I thought after that inhib goes down, right, you just think the fight's completely lost. And then you think the fight's completely won, because Vayne's totally separated, completely in the backline, completely dead. And then you realize they aren't killing her. They can't kill her. They didn't kill her. And then she stays alive, gets 2 more kills than she really should have. Maybe the first one's given, but the second one definitely not. And at this point, I mean, Manitoba hanging on by a thread, living on a literal prayer and a dream, you know, send good vibes kind of stuff. But they are indeed alive for now.
Oh, man.
And how do you catch a Skarner in his pillars? You just don't.
They're down to the wire here.
It's not happening.
RMU, they're definitely feeling this pressure, right? There's nothing going on to where they're sitting around saying, oh, we still have this game easy. What they're saying is, we still have this game, we can still win on these conditions, or rather, these conditions are how we're going to win. But I don't think anybody on RMU is taking this lightly at this point. Meanwhile, all the momentum does seem to be stirring in the blue corner of this map. There's no longer any Barons up. Have to worry about the inhibitor on the top side. Okay, yes, that stinks, but it's won and it's manageable by Tiger Cloud, who has the teleport. So options are looking good for them. Top to bottom here, we're over 32 minutes at this point. Knocking on the door of 33. I mean, this has been a long game for both sides, and both wanting to finish it up as quickly as they can. Well, here's RMU, maybe trying to make
both
that a reality.
Both inhibs up, but they're both getting knocked on, you know? That's the real problem. They have to find purchase. Where does it start?
It's going to be tricky. They want to find Felix, but they want to get in. That's Soya. No way out of this one. That's the Cataclysm. That's the ultimate as well from Galio trying to come down, but he's still healthy and he's melting Xyle. And that's going to be the kill coming out on this one. Still nothing damaging the Vayne just yet. Are you kidding me? Have they done it? No way! It's a double kill coming down for Vayne. And everybody but Crash is dead on the side of Robert Morris University. They did lose an inhibitor for it in the mid lane, but Crash, what can you defend here?
I mean, the thing is, how can they push? Right? It's so far away, the game so far from being done, because now, not only, they have time, right? They have 30 seconds, but the most they're going to get off this is like an inhibitor tower, right? The realistic thing is that they get an inhibitor tower, and then they peel back, reset, and get Baron. That's probably their ideal play, but even now, I mean, maybe I overestimated. They're going to get second tier at the very best. This is such a slow push right now, and they just don't have anything left to do it.
Two cannon
Skarner,
minions,
ultimate coming up soon. Watch this flash ult on Ezreal. If they get the pick here, the game could end.
He wants it. You can tell by the way he's posturing under that tower. That's going to be the minion wave absolutely decimated.
Baron in 45.
Yeah, this is going to be the spawn up coming out now for the remaining members of RMU. They lose one tower. That's only the second one that Manitoba has managed to find throughout this game. If Robert Morris do win it, they'll have taken every tower on the table conversely. A lot of pressure to have to figure out all of top lane, all of bot lane. Thankfully, you're at a point where death timers will start to get you there, but we saw even with just one massive wave, two cannon minions in said wave. We're only able to get one turret, nothing at all thereafter. Actually, oh, Crash, he's just that far ahead. This Ezreal, so strong, and now
Baron
5 seconds on the Baron.
It's gonna melt.
This is what it all comes down to, is this Baron fight.
It's gonna melt. There's gonna be no way they can actually do it unless they base race, but I don't think they really want to. The Baron isn't melting. I severely overestimated the Ezreal's damage. He does not do enough damage to actually melt this Baron out.
Now they're just trying to juggle it a little bit. No one wants to give it up, but Gadapa happy to fight this one here in the bottom lane over Mundo. He's had his number.
This rises. The inhibitor's down.
Yeah, that's the third inhibitor. This is the go time switch now. This is where now RMU need to turn it on. They want to. Soya, though, is the problem. Is the thorn in their side? Does it matter? Can Rise just finish this game?
The game. The game
They have to stop the backs. They cannot let anyone on the side of Manitoba back this time. But that's Vayne finding the first kill onto Xyle already. He's been turning. More to come. Oh,
that's it. The game ends.
Yeah. That's going to be it. Nice takeaway at the end of the day.
What? How is that the way this game ends? How is that the way this game ends?
Okay. It's stunted, it's crazy, it's wild, but at the end of the day, that is how it shakes out. And RMU take the first one for themselves. Beautifully done. If not a little wonky, but they win that game down 12 kills. Right? 30-18. All the gold difference in towers, all their CS leads made for a 2K gold advantage at the end of the day, but
what are you supposed to do about that, right? Are you supposed to just say, you know, this is okay, right? Is that just the way that this goes down? I actually think that the only way to fix that game was to have a different top laner, right? If you have a top that can duel the Rise, if you have a top that can stall the wave at all, protect the inhibitor, clear the waves, I mean, I don't know what it has to be, right? The problem is, what kind of a top laner can clear 3 waves at once and keep a Rise off next?
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't think there is one, right? So maybe the Baron's not the right call. Maybe you have to turtle a second time. But whatever happened, Manitoba lose the game in spectacular fashion. It was a game that they seemed like they were coming back into, that they were going to win, and then they just didn't. It just didn't happen. They didn't find their purchase. They didn't find anything. They didn't find kills beyond what they needed. They didn't find turrets. They didn't find objectives. They got a couple drags, but realistically, it was RMU's macro play that just continuously wore them down. The inhibitor takes, the sieging, the pushing. It was all in RMU's favor the entire time, and it's the reason they took so many objectives so freely.
I mean, you have to just think they kept saying, guys, don't worry, we win fights late, we win fights late. Hey, guess what? They won fights late, and it just didn't matter. At the end of the day, there was too much framework, too much build-up, too much hemorrhaging caused by Robert Morris and the Eagles on the side of Manitoba for them to really be able to pull that back around at the end, and it did lead to their victory. Now, keep in mind, this is a best-of-3 series, and of course,
it's true.
We know from the Winter Invitational, Manitoba winning 2 games. Robert Morris won 1. Well,
After
if
they
history is
lost
to
the
repeat
first
itself-
game too. Manitoba did come back and win the series, so we've been here before, right?
Right. Manitoba, no strangers to this position. They're going to be comfortable. They're going
But
to
is
know.
Robert Morris going to write a different ending?
I think they want to. I think they're looking to, and the momentum is on their side. So we're going to give these players a brief break to get set up for game number 2. And when we come back, we're going to be ready to see whether this series continues or concludes, as one team will inevitably be moving on.
You're here like lightning in my veins. Now they see me, and I'll never be the same. Your whispers found its way, calling me to stay. I'm standing at the edge, but something always brings me back. All the voices in my head reminded me of what I had. If I fall tonight, you can bring me back to life. If I fall tonight, you can be my saving light. 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 You're pushing and you're pulling, gotta slow down. You're talking to me like you think you know it all. Well, it's dangerous, ain't no saving us if you can't let go now. Oh, I've been lost in a light, been down one too many times. So call me when you're ready to let go. When you let go, I could take you all the way to heaven, heaven. Take this elevator to 11, 11. Baby, let me take a little.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are getting into the draft for game number 2. Still Robert Morris University, still the University of Manitoba. The only difference is that they've swapped sides, and now RMU is sitting only one game away from taking this series, whereas the University of Manitoba has another 2 to take out should they need. But we're already going to see what adaptations they can make, what changes Manitoba are going to try to swap around. Well, we already know RMU, they had a hard time dealing with that Vayne, so they're going to ban that off the table. No huge surprises.
Yeah, I mean, right, if you're going to make any adaptation, I think it's don't let the most broken ADC in the world through. Just don't, right? If it's anything, right? Usually what you want to do is you want to say, okay, what was their win condition? How did they play that game? What did they revolve around? And if I'm on the side of Manitoba, I say they used the Rise really heavily. They used it as a crutch. They relied on the split push. If they don't have the split push, 90% of the time they don't get anything, right? Their siege is not strong enough to just walk through the base. The reason that they had that strong of a siege, because part of the front line was gone. When Mundo has to go deal with a split pusher, he doesn't really do much. You know, he wasn't able to kill the Rise at all. So banning the Rise out, I think, is a very, very good strategy to getting them on the right foot.
Move in the right direction should they decide to take it. Well, nothing changed up over on the side of Manitoba just yet. They've not opted for any major shakeups to the bans coming through. They know they have red side for the double pickup. Well, last time, that's where Lysandra and Ezreal both got locked in for the likes of Robert Morris University. We'll see if that still ends up being what they try to pick up here this time around. Obviously wouldn't be able to do it in one phase, and potentially banning could shut that down as well if they wanted to interrupt anything. The Alistair still off the table. The Urgot means it's all the same 3 bans from the University of Manitoba. They didn't see anything that scared them too badly about that last game, or maybe anything that at least warrants a ban in the beginning phase here. So now Godpa, the first pick, we'll see what he does lock in for his team. Wouldn't be surprised to see, would be a little surprised to see that Vladimir takeaway. It's a strong pick, and it's something they're going to keep out of the hands of Kep.
Well, I think the most interesting thing personally, right, is the fact that this is actually basically the best adaptation you can make, right? You ban their strongest pick, you take away their other strongest pick. These are 2 picks that I think really shouldn't have been both allowed to be taken away. Both allowed to be taken away game number 1, right? RMU just kind of gives up, I think, one of the strongest mid laners in the game, definitely the strongest AD as of right now, and almost lost because of it. Now, instead, they trade away the Rise in that top lane. Tiger Clown, he wants a little bit of revenge right now, probably. I think that's very reasonable. And you said it was the same bans. A little bit incorrect. The Lucian was actually previously banned by RMU.
By RMU, yes. They traded that out for the Vayne.
And they get it now in second rotation. So getting Lucian Braum's second rotation while having Vladimir, this composition's looking nigh unstoppable. And so I'm very worried. I think I need to see something. Because Zoe's banned, I would have liked to see a Vladimir ban, realistically, right? She is the main Vlad counter. So if Zoe is banned, you don't have first pick, you better be banning Vladimir, or you better have a plan to counter him. The plans to counter Vladimir are things like, maybe we go for Caston, right? We go for something super late game, super outscale him, not deal with him at 6, you just ult away, he doesn't kill you. That's fine, you know? You can do something of that nature, pick the Caston, but you have to have a plan. If you just let the Vladimir over, if you just give away Lucian Braum, and then those 2 are on the same team, it's going to be very difficult for you. Alistair already banned out. Sivir now doesn't have an Alistair to pair with. The Thresh isn't that great of a thing. The Morgana into Braum, not fantastic. She's going to get all of her things blocked by that spell shield. So, or not a spell shield technically, because he doesn't just absorb it, he does get rooted. But it's only a Braum pick. Let's say you do get the pick on him, right? Q lands, but you don't get anybody else, right? Then Morgana Q is going to exclusively be a Braum target now. The only thing you can pick is him. So if you do that, if you do burn a lot of your summoners, a lot of your damage onto the Braum, and you lose because of it, you don't get the damage, you don't get the dive, where does the rest of it come from, right? The rest of their damage-heavy team is still going to walk over you. So I'm very worried right now. I think we need to see an adaptation relying on some kind of an aggressive jungler from the side of Manitoba. That has to be their pickup in this phase. right? They need an aggressive jungler. I'm talking Lee Sin. I'm talking, right, something that jumps on people, that gets early leads, that gets great damage, that ganks repeatedly. Any and all of these things would be fantastic. Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, maybe even a Nocturne if you're really, really desperate. But you need to have a jungler that makes plays. If he doesn't make plays, or if you do this, I don't know where this is going.
No.
Okay,
It's not going
okay,
to
we can do
Noctis.
Gragas. Nocturne, perfect. This is exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about an aggressive jungler. We're talking about something that can actually make plays. RMU now have to respond, right? The ideal thing would be to say, okay, you've got a Nocturne. We're going to pick something even more aggressive. Pick the Lee Sin. It's not banned this time. It was banned last time by the side of University of Manitoba. Pick the Lee Sin here, right? So then you counter out the Nocturne and get the advantage again. And if they do that, if they have Lee Sin, and realistically, I think to round out this composition, something in the neighborhood of, an Olaf jungle might be what the doctor ordered, but something in the neighborhood of a Riven, right? Something that can run people down, that can really do damage, or a mid laner like the Lissandra, which they only banned. Okay, so they already banned that out. They have to go for... Oh, they have to go for the Riven here, I think. That's probably the best aggressive follow-up champion. Maybe...
Ooh, no, it looks like they
Syndra.
want to play the Vladimir in
Okay.
the top side.
Okay.
Syndra coming down to the mid lane. How they're going to shake this one out.
It
It's
has
still-
range advantage.
I mean, it's a strong composition that loves to run at you, right? Coming out of the side of Robert Morris University, and that's what they wanted last time. It's not as survivable safe as the likes of the Ezreal, but still every bit as mobile at the end of the day. They're going to be able to come out with across the map anyway. And the answer, Kassadin, on the other side of things, going to be what they want to take into that Syndra. So no huge surprises here. We should know how this lane's going to turn out at this point. And Puzzo and Kept actually never had too many one-to-one massive barn burners in the mid lane. And part of that's due to the fact that, hey, there's a Vladimir in the mid lane and Lysandra, kind of what more do you want? How, this isn't like ZVZ coming out, not the craziest. But at the same time, this time around, curious to see if either of these guys is going to try to put the aggressive moves on the other, get the takeaway. Maybe a little bit more mid-action coming down to the wire here. Should see a faster game in the jungle as well. But besides that, a lot of these lanes going to be kind of at the same pace. Lucian Braum and Silver Morgana. It's a tried and true lane. Both of them kind of, can come down to some execution there. And I think Lucian Braum obviously going to have a bit of the advantage over the Spell Shield sisters at the end of the day. But
they got the Kassadin. I mean, this is the right adaptations by Manitoba, right?
Mhm.
They say, okay, what are our biggest weaknesses? The biggest weaknesses are we don't have an aggressive jungle, we don't have an answer to the Vladimir late game, we don't have a way to deal with all of that together.
Sure.
So, in that sense, I would say they've made the right choices, but is it enough to overcome RMU, right? They got an even more aggressive jungler, an even more early game focused one. They got a great matchup into that bottom lane. They have a fantastic AD paired with a great support. This is going to be very difficult, I think, in terms of the bottom lane. The mid lane isn't very early game. The top lane isn't very early game. It's all on Captain Snarples. And if he can't deliver in the jungle, every single lane is going to have difficulties. Top lane might be even, but the rest of them, not so much.
And if they fall behind the same way, there's no mid to late game renaissance here for their composition. It's not like the Mundo starts to become unkillable and the Vayne gets to the point where she can start to, get those 1v2s, v3s, v4s. Those options just aren't as present. So if Manitoba can't hang early and the likes of Robert Morris can get off to that same start, well, they may just be in for the rundown of their lives. And they are fighting for their lives at this point here in the tournament. There's still a lower bracket, I believe, for Robert Morris should things not go their way. But at the same, Manitoba, I'm sorry, should the things not go their way in this game. But Robert Morris looking to put them in that situation here. Nothing too aggressive this time, Manitoba. Not up to any crazy tricks. Just drawing the line of scrimmage this time. They did get that cheeky kill on to Gadapa in the beginning of last time. Got first blood over for Solia. This time, not the case for them. That's all well and good. They're just going to say, we want a cleaner, safer game because we know when we play it to the limits of our composition, well, we can beat you.
This is the time to bring it all to bear. If you're an RMU fan, make some noise in the chat. If you're a Manitoba fan, you want to see them repeat the same, now might not be the time to cheer because Snarfles is in trouble.
Yeah, he's already having to burn that early summer
run down
just to get out of this one. Zyle, yeah, he's just going to keep this one up. They thought, Snarfles
is that.
Maybe thought he might just walk right away from that. Said, okay, yeah, they did their cheeky damage. They're walking off now. I can go back to doing what I was doing. No, absolutely not. Zyle was ready to chase that one down, and he had backup coming out of the hands of that Syndra there. Beautifully picked up, all things considered. The Olaf and now going to be ahead, taking away that red buff. Got up as well. Having a setback just a little bit, but coming to lane with an assist means he's not going to sweat those first couple CS. He really shouldn't even be denied anything here.
This is it's really something. But look at this aggression again, Crash. He's kind of feeling the pain from last time, right? Now that he has the Lucian, now that he's got the actual chance to win against the Sivir in lane, he is certainly taking advantage of it, pressuring in, getting all of these light slingers that he can. And the more procs he gets, the more advantage he can, grab in the lane. The CS starts to build up, and then sooner rather than later, he's going to have a pretty sizable lead. But that's all in the future for now. Lanes are as you'd expect, right? Health advantage is on the side of RMU pretty much across the board. Top lane is pretty much even. And the Nocturne struggling to find his path, struggling to find his way to outclear this Olaf. Because after all, the Olaf is an incredibly fast jungler, right? So being able to match him is hard. I think being able to even think about matching him is very, very difficult. He started the red of the Nocturne and then went down, cleared his chickens, and then the Scuttle, then crossed to his own red. So that Nocturne didn't have time to invade.
Really just stifling this early jungle path against Captain Snarfles here. And Snarfles is a jungler we've seen do very well throughout this entire tournament, even against, the likes of Johns Hopkins. Snarfles, a formidable force. This time around, though, maybe RMU found the key to shutting him on down. Nocturne pick, aggressive, needs to be more so as the game continues to unfold, because we know Zyle's going to be aggressive. We know, based on his J4 play last time, he's going to be in the face of everybody. It's foolish to think that might not be the case here, him picking Olaf, but just in case that thought might have crept into the brains of the University of Manitoba, he proved that that was not the case. And he did run in, get the invade, and the early kill. This particular game, so now a lot of pressure onto the shoulders of Snarfles here as his lanes,
Kept
well, they're not doing
lower.
so hot either. Yeah, Kept is in some trouble here. About 10 CS down. Rise into the Vladimir, and the only thing that seems to be going their way, or as expected right now, is Solya and True North repping for their squad here in the bot side of the map here. 24-24 CS is even. It's going to stay even for a little while. Crash.
The Sivir's actually going to get a bit better CS advantage because of the way the wave is pushing. Obviously, she has more minions to clear, so if she doesn't miss more than like 3, she should have a lead at the end of all of this. Now, the problem is, of course, Sivir sometimes does accidentally prep minions to go down to other minions. It's just bouncing blade things, sometimes it does happen. So she's not guaranteed to clear all of it, but at the very least, the lane is competitive. And I think that's what Manitoba most desire. They built a very strong late game scaling composition. They need to get there though. If they get to the late game, even more so than last time, they're going to be very, very strong. They've got themselves, instead of an Ezreal to contend with, it's a Lucian. Instead of a Jarvan with a CC, it's an Olaf. And now the Olaf 1 versus 1 in the jungle.
Ooh, yeah, the chicken's favoring Captain Snarfles just a little bit more here, giving him the upper hand he may need.
5-3 though.
Yeah, I know, and double buffs. You gotta think he's just trying to play this one out. Just get him
Here's
isolated. That's exactly what he wanted. He knew the help was coming, but didn't care. Dial, he may go down for this one, but the flash, yeah, getting out of that one. Cannot get there in time.
And he clears the chickens.
You're kidding me. Beautiful.
He's so cheeky that he clears the chickens too.
Man, there's a bounty on this guy's head. He's wanted in 3 lanes and 2 rivers. Maybe just 1 river, if you think about the way it all flows together. But who knows? Either way, Zyle, this guy's putting it together just the right way. Heal up back in base, going to be ready to just rock back and roll, ready anywhere on the map he wants to be. And what a huge advantage building now for the side of Robert Morris University. Already this time, it was 2 kills that went down against them. This time, the 2 kills are in their favor. The early game shaping up a little.
This is, again, pressure on the Soya, but he's not actually super worried because they've got a jungler here.
Yeah, Captain Snarfle's not taking it too
Flash.
personally. He wants to come in and get the instant gank and does so. Picks up the kill for himself there,
Tiger
and that's
Clown.
a big death. Onto Lucian, yeah, as well. Gadapa maybe in some trouble here if he's not careful.
Auto.
Tiger Clown, can you get it? The answer is yes. And we talked about being 2 kills down, what Manitoba could do. Well, that's what they can do. Gank a lane and stomp a lane. Beautifully done by Tiger Clown to get the kill onto Gadapa. Beautifully done by Captain Snarfles to bring Soya and True North back into things here. All well and good, and brings us not quite back to even. There's still 1k gold in the hole here. It's a nice start if you are the University of Manitoba. We'll see if they can answer with anything. Zyle is right here. Spell Shield. 1 of 3 on this team. Maybe enough. Snarfles, are you kidding me? Just the dive under tower. The Ragnarok is here. The downtown! With the throwing axe. Finds its target. God of War style. Olaf will be just fine coming out of this one. Zyle is a madman. Oh. Yeah, I don't think Porcher wants to go any further on that one. Not without the mod. Yep, smelled that one out. Saw it coming. He's okay on the things. Absolutely taking a little bit of a breath thus far. Zyle, the only one keeping the aggression right in the faces of his enemy. Not even going to get chased right on off of that one. True North is thinking, hey, you know what? If I can hit this with a binding or something, get the blue in a mysterious way, which he doesn't smite this. Hey, great. More than likely, this blue's taken out
Aston on 6.
in the hands of Olaf.
He doesn't want to fight this. That's very interesting. With that many minions, you'd expect him to actually dive into Kyutso, but he doesn't really want to take that fight. And Tiger Clown, he got the better of God for once. I'm not sure he can do it again. He is very low on mana. Olaf sees the land.
Going to be, yeah, nice boomerang there to get it onto Zyle. No blast cone to get over the wall here. No, I'm sorry, it is there. And we'll be able to take it. And makes the great escape for a second, maybe third time this game. You think he's up against the ropes, and then just like that, he pulls out one crazy trick and gets out scot-free. Now, he could make happen here. He's going to go back to the farming. Not a huge surprise. It's going to be a little while before he can gank anything, hopefully. And the lanes are going to get harder to gank here, right? Kev, not easy. Nocturne now, level 6, can kind of respond. He actually saw this one, and that's going to be the ultimate coming through. It is instantly shut down. Beautifully done by Captain Snarfles to read that situation, take it out and away. Keep us at an even keel of 3-3.
This is... Oh, CC on the Braum.
Yeah.
Might be the time.
They're stacking up that passive. Can they get more out of this? The double shot means, yes, that should be the kill, but Crash, have you gone too far for it? No, Soya has to get out of this one. He knows it, too. Just trying to lay down some of that founding damage. Yeah, no.
Or does he?
Stuck around a little too long at
here.
Porcher. Not on the same page. He's just going to use that ult to make sure his AD gets out alive. And
Nocturne, no ultimate to finish off the Lucian. That was a very interesting play, actually. The Braum flashing, like, literally into the bush to escape Morgana binding. Not something I expected him to do. If he had been stunned, Lucian goes down, right? Then Morgana's alive. Things get a lot more difficult. Very well played by him, but even so, still a 1-for-1 trade. Both ADs alive. Both pick up the kills.
yeah, Soya actually goes deep for that.
Soya's
Wants it.
dead.
Knows if I could get it, but no. Crash was ready for it. Said one fatal mistake. One tower shot is all I need. And punishes it accordingly there. So it was 1-1 apiece in that bot lane. That's going to be Crash picking it back up, taking the advantage for himself yet again. Making sure CS does not get too far out of hand for him, though. All well and good, all great play. Happy to back at the even CS, happy to back a kill ahead. And Dial on this Mountain Drake, I don't think there's anybody that's going to be able to challenge him off of this one. Gadapa. Maybe Kept is going to be able to pick that one up very easily. The casting into the Vladimir just takes it out. Beautifully done. Picking up, and every time they get a kill ahead on the side of Robert Morris University, Manitoba is there to kill something right back. It's very bloodthirsty League of Legends, but hey, it's working.
Yeah, and I gotta say, for all the time that RMU has put into trying to fight it out and get the advantage, they do have 1,000 gold lead, right? That's pretty good. You know, they've got themselves a gold lead. They've got themselves some kind of a an early game, edge to this, but the real problem is, how do you convert that, right? You need to take that and then do the famous macro play, right? Take that, get some kind of pressure, roam with your mid laner, and hopefully take a turret down. Because if you're not taking turrets down early with an Olaf and a Lucian, the game's not looking super good.
No, certainly not. We've seen, too, what University of Manitoba can do if you give them a little time to sort things out. Well, it wasn't the full comeback that they were hoping for, but it come close enough for worry on the side of RMU, close enough to make sure they knew to ban the Vayne out in a game like this, right? To make sure that they're not picking up those same champions here. Well, now Tiger Clown keep things getting the right momentum for them here, trying to keep up the pressure, but unable to hold that off as best he hoped there, but didn't get a kill, did at least break things down, but you get the feeling that Zyle's coming back around for this one maybe. He doesn't want to attention to the vision. And the Rift Herald, meanwhile, over on the top half of the map is going to be the subject of some scrutiny. No, sorry, way ahead of myself on that one. Either way, still moving. For Manitoba here, things looking a lot better at this point in the game than maybe they were this time around last game. 12 minutes, it's a sizable RMU lead that just kept building, but this time around they're just trying to find that lead enough for them here. Here's the Paranoia coming on down. That's going to be holding them off. Nicely done with the stopwatch, but more to come. That's going to be Snarfle's game. He gets on a Gyutso, but he's going to get tagged up himself. Has to get through the stopwatch, but now still will die. Crash trying to stay alive in this one, but on the back line there, Tiger Clown trying to get more of this one. Crash going to likely go down, but doesn't connect, and will have the speed to get out. Doesn't matter.
Zyle get out? I don't think so,
Portraiture
right?
die. Yeah,
eventually someone
really
has to catch up to Zyle, you'd think. Or not, he has Predator active, he's just going to run out.
And all the while, topside, Gadapa happy to just wail on this turret. Still has plating for it, too. So gold-wise, this will be a huge advantage, actually, coming out for the likes of Robert Morris University. The Eagles keep on marching here. And even when things don't go their way, they're able to squeak something out of it. That's some good reactive League of Legends. But is it good enough? Because Manitoba still ferociously holding on to this series.
Is
Can't let that happen.
Manitoba. I mean, you take a look at that 2-for-1 fight, right? Even though the fight goes their way, they lose gold overall. That's crazy good play. To talk about, RMU just saying, okay, we're going to take this fight. Whether we lose it or not, we're going to be gaining things across the map. And gain they do. They gain so many turret plates. They gain great advantages for their side lane, their split push again. It's all coming into play. And as it does, Gyutso might finally drop.
True North, yeah, has the soul shackles to lock him on up there, kept all over that opportunity, and gets it together, beautifully locking it on down for him. Nice kill lead building for themselves here, down only 500 gold down. No turrets separating them either, although the one on the top side is a little worse for wear on the side of Manitoba. Expect that'll pick up before too long. There is the Mountain Drake, favoring that, of course, as well with the damage to towers. Nothing tipping the scales either way just yet. I mean, you're even enough in the bot lane. You have a nice advantage over in the side of mid here. Yep, looking really good about that one. But Zyle, the answer perhaps, and Soya gotta be careful. One more shot will do it, and that should effectively force it out of lane, actually. Get some real damage on this tower now, maybe, for the like of Robert Morris University.
Robert Morris, I mean, again, they find more ways to start answering back, but the gold lead is starting to shrink a bit. So they need this turret, they need to get more of these outers. First outer in chance, but now Syndra again finding herself caught.
And the full combo just not enough. Waited out the spell shield for what he could or felt like it, but Snarfle's just not having the tower aggro that he needed, and it was almost a damn if you do, damn if you don't. Doesn't matter. That bot lane tower is taken down. Top lane, not long for this world either. If Godba has anything to say about it, which he does, he walks right up and says it to Tiger Clown's face.
Finishes him.
Yeah. Man.
I mean, to be able to just finish him underneath tower, get the tower to boot, realistically, I mean, what more could you actually ask for? You just need to keep pressuring. You just need to, keep getting advantages. So far, we haven't seen that. You know, it's all been Robert Morris University finding picks, finding towers, finding plates, and just farming up this gold tile. He's got a great team to protect him. The Braum keeps him safe while he does that blue, and he just can continue to farm it out. It's a team that's well-versed in working with each other, obviously, but more importantly, they're not getting punished in the right ways, right? Every time they overextend, it's not like they're sticking their neck out. They're sticking an arm out. Even if your hand gets chopped off, you just hit them with the other one.
Yeah. A little bit of peekaboo League of Legends coming out there, and not the worst way to try to get a series moving in the direction that you want it to if you have the resources at your disposal. If you have a composition that's not a ticking time bomb squaring you off in the face. Well, meanwhile, here's Kep trying to get in onto Gapapa. We've seen him take him down once here, maybe a second, trying to come through. There it is. There's the reinforcements and forces the flash, but I don't think he was, I don't know what he was trying to think coming back into that. Just buying some time, maybe his Tiger Clown is going to be in some trouble now. Captain Snarfle's absolutely going to die. Zyle gets the credit for it, but they do pick one back up over on the other side of things as Gapapa is taking down Soya, trying to get a little bit more out of this one. Zyle low for it, has to be careful.
Caps is in close, watch Cap.
That's going to be absolutely able. Kept is coming in with a double kill down for himself. Maybe going to get stunned up here. Crash, can you get more out of it? I don't think so. I think this is where it tapers back off. I think we have the 3-for-2 favoring the University of Manitoba, but Tower on the chopping block yet again. This seems to be going a lot more like the first game. Every time we look at some of these numbers, well, hey, it's more Tower.
Finding.
More objectives coming out for Robert Morris, and the kills are just there coming out now for the side of the University of Manitoba, and Porricher's just going to be one more brick in that wall. He just gets slapped up in cement, mortared on over, and plowed right on out of the way.
That is Manitoba again. They've done so well at finding just advantages, getting picks, getting leads. They keep doing it. You know, they keep finding these, openings in the armor of Manitoba, of Robert Morris, and every time they do, you think, Robert Morris, right? They could be playing this a bit better. You know, they don't have to challenge. They don't have to, force so hard, but they always do. Nocturne ulting on Delusion.
It is coming down. Yeah, they want to get more. Crash trying to be careful and does so get out. So a hard one to dive past as
but
well.
Here comes Tiger.
Tiger Clown on the side of things. Forces the Ragnarok at least. You want to use that one defensively. You want to force Zyle to use it defensively rather, so good play there. But this tower, I mean, what more can you throw at it to keep it alive? Because there is no paranoia this time around. There's really not a lot more Tiger Clown can do with the element of surprise. They see him clear as day. Hey, how you doing? Hit this tower one way or another. Maybe that's just going to be in enough time. Crash is healthy, and they're building up a big wave in this bot lane. Now for Gapapa to start turning things the tide he wants. He still really can't fight Kept just yet. Kept has been all over this guy, so putting him in that bottom lane to deal with the split push, I like it. Does leave mid a little bit vulnerable, but I think they have their options, especially as he has the teleport. Although there's no saving this mid lane tower at this point. You talked about vulnerable. That's vulnerability. Just walking up. No wave control, no presence of mind to try to hold that thing together. And holy cow, nothing to stop the dive. Yeah, Soya, what are you gonna do? Porricher wanted to take the turret dagger, couldn't in time, and actually just ended up taking a shot for free. If he'd been staring at the back of that, Gapapa would have gotten out all the same all the while, but I appreciate the support. No take my HP bar first mentality. That was what Porricher was embodying to the T.
Again, it's just RMU. They pressure in, they get great pick.
Oh, absolutely.
This time, they're not giving up to me, right? They're just walking at the turret, and with no wave clear, with no ability to, stall out the minions, that was all locked to Sivir. Realistically, they can just keep going. Kassadin, he really wants a piece of this Braum, but even after the double ultimate, he can't bring down.
It's the power of the Braum shield, just holding it all together. The shield, of course, is made of ice, magic, and friendship, and a little bit of poro dust. But it's the right secret sauce to keep Braum in this game well and alive, and does so. He's died 3 times already, but doesn't make it a 4th there. Would have been kill number 7 if Kept had his way, and possibly lucky number 7 there. I mean, Kept, a monster, more kills than anybody else in the game, and farming better than most of them as well. He's behind Crash, and both of them are behind Gapapa, who's just on fire with his CS, relatively unperturbed, embodying the Vladimir split push mentality. But regardless, don't think anyone wants to be in a ring with Kept at this exact moment, and we'll see if Now maybe a fight potentially breaking out around this dragon, the second mountain here. And already siege-heavy composition would go their way. Tower goes down to the top lane. That is traded back. TacticalClown does pick that one up for himself, but this dragon's no contest going to be in favor of Robert Morris University. They get the Scuttler as well, and they're going to return, I think, one member to the top lane. The others, still ready to push this one out if they can. Xyle, he's testing the waters here. He's dipping a big toe in just to see how it's all going to shake out. Maybe secure push right forward to get some vision on the Baron down. Either way, neither of these competitions exactly sure how they want to continue playing this one out. Kept, though, big split push to find that opportunity in the bot lane. It's a second tower. That's already just as many as they got the first time around in the game number 1. And holy cow, Kyutso, can you get away from that one? The combo with the flash makes it happen. You didn't think it was going to happen. It was just an instant burst, but it's not enough to follow up at the end of the day.
The problem is, right, the way that the Rise positioned was across the wall. You have to walk it in as you're throwing spells and spell cancel your walk animations so you get closer, because what happens there is if you get full shoved back, you don't have time to actually get to the Syndra after she flashes, but if you're walking it in with your spells, you do. So the positioning, just not good enough to get him that kill. It's a minor mistake, but getting that pick would have been monumental, right? It means that he can then just sit there and push out the top lane, get the advantage that he wants, and that's all that matters.
You have to wonder if that's going to be a make or break point here in this series. Of course, Manitoba, they're at a point where they need to find this momentum. They're just barely behind in turrets, barely behind in gold and CS. They're ahead in the kills, of course. Par for the course here, as they've been playing that one out. No surprises based on what we saw in game number 1. But still, at this point,
again,
nice
this
pickup.
time.
Massive. No flash this time to keep alive. Kyutso taken out just like that. So, absolutely obliterated here. Maybe momentum you're talking about, the time to turn on the burners. Unfortunately.
Flash forwards.
Yeah, Kept and TacticalClown are both pretty far back onto this one, but True North, the targets they want. Sorry, the whole time. That's going to be the flash forward. The Ragnarok's just a little late, but they do find Morgana at the end of the day, and these minions as well might be going down to the tune of an inhibitor turret should they want to set this up. Keep in mind, there's 2 Mountain Drakes here, but Kept on the backline, kept lingering here. That's what they want to find out. Yeah.
The real problem is, right, if you go in and you let Cap have access to your backline, he's going to kill your Lucian, right? Your Lucian's going to die absolutely instantly. What they have to do is they have to be mindful. They can't just allow him to do this. Oh my gosh, look at the health on that Vladimir.
So close, but meanwhile the health on Captain Snarfles, that's the real victim of this fight. And it goes to the tune of Forager. He takes the kill for himself, happily enough to do it. But now they do have to back on off of this one. I don't see a world in which they can really stick around too much longer. I think the vision they laid down for Baron, fantastic. Might get half cleared, 75% of it cleared, but a couple of those pesky wards absolutely will linger and not too much trouble. Crash, on the other hand, might be in some severe trouble. He's not careful getting out of this one. Does make Kept, it's always hard to tell exactly when he's gonna. Sorry, Kept and Trigger. TacticalClown, sorry, excuse me. A little hard to tell when these guys are gonna go in and they're just gonna turn on the burner and get you down, but that time, Crash was able to get out of it all the same way he needed to. Knocked on the door of 200 CS now for himself. That's good 30 some odd up on his opponent, Zoya, in this bottom lane. And kills even. He's at a great state for this Lucian.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, right, the Lucian is at a really strong power spike. He's got his 3 items, he's pretty much set, but they're not super far ahead in the gold, even given all of that, right? RMU are making a lot of missteps. They're getting killed a lot. This game is not clean from either side. But even so, all of the objectives seem to be starting to fall in their favor, right? They got the 2nd tier tower. That means they have a 1 tower lead. It gives them just enough pressure to start this Baron up. I don't know if Manitoba know for sure that the Baron is going, but now they kind of have to.
Yeah, the ward is down there. That's actually a
half health.
Blind Glacial Vision is trying to get that one out.
Zoya.
He's trying to hold this together, and meanwhile, the backline Kyutso, he's walking right back into the Baron damage. That's going to get him killed at the end of the day. The paranoia drags to nothing, and Snarfles now behind enemy lines. Kept there with him, though. We'll see if they can turn 20 to a kill when it comes back up. He's got a lot of damage, and meanwhile, TacticalClown is there. and ready to keep this one moving and grooving in the right direction. Not so if Crash has anything to say about it, though. And Soya, the last surviving member.
Can they treat him?
I don't think so. Portrait does not have the HP for this Crash. You're going to have to try it with the Vladimir sustain. And they can...
Maybe. I think it's a maybe. This is a very risky call on the Baron. Looks like they can actually do it. The Vladimir trading off his tanking time is going to have just enough health to take this out, but they're trading a tier 2 for the pleasure of earning the Baron buff. Realistically,
Baron on everyone. Maybe not Xyle, actually. Xyle's not going to spawn.
Yes, they will get it on 4, but that's still a pretty good Baron, right? And this is RMU's specialty. Even though they look like they should lose the fight, even though they look like they're just getting torn apart, they managed to keep the Vladimir alive like 4 times during that on slivers of HP. If he ever goes down, they're never going to take the Baron, right? That's the only thing that allows them to do it. So the fact that he stays alive is the reason they get that objective. If he ever goes down, the Caston kills him, the Nocturne ults onto him, that's enough damage. But those single things, 1 cast Q, 1 Nocturnal, are enough to kill him during that fight. And then the entire game changes. They don't have Baron. They just lose T2. They have to back to save it. Whatever happens, they don't have a major objective. And that could be super crucial, but they do. The way that they played it allows them to keep this advantage rolling forwards.
Keeping it building the right direction is basically all they can ask for at this point, because 27 minutes in, I mean, we're getting to a point where leads look a little fragile. 3k gold differences don't mean that much, and the fight can turn on its head and turn into so many more towers out of nowhere. The inhibitors become the big question mark of this game. So I like what I'm seeing from Tiger Clown, pushing this split on the tower in the top side relatively undisturbed about it too. There's actually not a teleport to answer this, so anyone who backs is going to have to deal with that. He is making the back call fairly early, not trying to play this one too aggressive, wants to be on the defense, but they will lose that tower out for it anyway. Does not matter. This may be Manitoba are going to be looking to start the fight. They've got all 5 members up. They do have the Paranoia ready to go, and they're only going to lose more the longer they let this one happen. So not knocking on the door yet, not trying to get it because Soya's health bar is low. Well, I understand, but you got to make something happen here, guys. This inhibitor's going to be the first one to fall potentially more if Tiger Clown does not get out of the way soon, and it's down. Count on this one. Top lane, not going where they wanted to, but they still have so many minutes. This is a double cannon wave, keep in mind. This could be a Nexus turret if they're not careful over on the side, but this could be a little bit more action. They're trying to go in. That's going to be a lot coming down. There's a Paranoia trying to get in on the back line of things. Caught the Starfles, though. Gonna resurrect. It's just the GA. Not the same can be said for Syndra there. Is down. That's going to be Godapa going down as well. Captain Starfles. They're not even going to get him, or are they? No, nice repositioning from Crash. Makes it happen. But look at this. The Nexus tower is down. Can they find more? Can they finish the game here? They're trying with everything they've got. Crash, can you make it happen? The answer is no. He is taken down, and just like that, they hold on. Manitoba lived to fight another fight. They threw everything they had at that one and stopped the unstoppable force that was Robert Morris University, at least for a little while. They get the ace. Baron is gone, but so are their Nexus towers. So is their bottom inhibitor. This is an open Nexus, and it is open season for Robert Morris when they respawn. There's absolutely no way they lose any major objectives off of this one. So you have to think that this is going to be where they rally and try to make one final push down to take this series.
That was an incredible fight. I mean, just talk about the way that it went down. You think for a second, right, that the Lucian actually has damage, that he actually can burn things. Turns out, it's not raw damage. It's damage when viewed compared to the health bars of people at level, 15 on 2 to 3 items. These guys aren't super tanky. No members, actually, are tanky at all in this entire game. Maybe you can make an argument for the Braum, but even he is pretty low on the health scale. So, yeah, the Lucian kills people really quickly. He does not kill objectives quickly, though, and we see that there. The Nexus, realistically, should have gone down if they had an actual crit-based, large-scale AD. They don't. They're going to have to reset now. The gold lead is shrunk again, but with 4 turrets down, an inhibitor to boot, I don't think Robert Morris are going to be too worried.
Yeah, 3 more to knock down before they take everything off of this map. Really hard for Manitoba, I feel like, to maintain the positive attitude that they need to win this game. You know that all things considered, they're taking stock of this one and going, okay, we can win this, but Mercy, it's going to be hard. I think the points are focusing on right now, Soya coming up in a big way right now, 7-2. From when we last checked in on him at around 2-2, 3-2. 650 gold bounty on his head, and he's actually just barely eked out a CS advantage over Crash, his lane opponent there. That's a lot of catch-up to play so quickly. The same happened with Kept. He was always ahead in kills, but the CS blasting off into another Galaxy over Kyoto. I mean, they have a lot of fighting potential. The towers are what's making up the majority of this gold lead that is so small, favoring Robert Morris University. I think a fight still very easily goes the way of Manitoba if played correctly. The problem is playing it correctly. The problem is initiating it the way they want to, because they've tried with Captain Snarfles before, right? They've tried this Paranoia Ultimate kick things off, and it's just not worked. He is 2-8. Most of the time he's gone in with Paranoia, he's gone right back out to base with a one-way gray screen tip. This time, they give up one of their last 3 towers. Only inhibitor towers left now on the board. And no minions here, but they're coming up on the back line. They clear one way, it doesn't matter. Here's a second one for you. Clearing vision just to make sure that should it come down to going back for this Baron, will Robert Morris University have that as an option? They'd like to fight the Baron while the minions are still super pushing the bottom lane. While the inhibitor is still down, I think that's going to be a strategy.
Yeah, I think, obviously pushing on the opposite side of the map is a very consistent strategy, but given the fact that the supers are already stacking, just sit at Baron. Wait for the supers to be, at least started to be cleared, and then just go on the Baron, do it, finish it off, and re-push again, right? That's the entire game plan. It seems super easy to execute for them. With the teleport coming in, they have all 5 members here, and the Vladimir is going to start zoning off. Baron, now down to 10k.
Yeah, they're going to be trying to take this one out quickly. It's still a relatively slow Baron, but that's just because the other members of this team are elsewhere, maybe half committed, not exactly deciding how they want to do this. There's a lot of pings around the bottom lane. I don't know if they're trying to make the teleport happen here or not, but they don't really have that option available to them. Alpha did just come in, and this is not the same 3 TP composition we saw from last game, so I don't know what those pings are telling us. Just let the minions get a little closer before we kill off the Baron, make sure someone goes back. Maybe that's the play, and either way, Baron now in some real trouble. I don't think there's going to be any over-the-wall heroics this time around. Zyle ready to get in onto this one. That's going to be the Paranoia coming down near-sided for everyone. Can they get in? Can they get more? That's already true north down. More to come potentially as Captain Snarfles over the wall has to be careful. Does have his GA, and that's going to be Zyle in the middle of them all. Does get taken down by Kep, but Kep has to be on the run. Doesn't matter for Soya. He's taken out of that one. And there's some reasonably low health bars, but Crash is not one of them. He's still alive. He still has the GA, and he still has a massive advantage in this game. They're actually going to get the Ocean Drake off of this one. The inhibitors respawn. They know they want to reset the bottom anyway, get that inhibitor out, and they have the minions there. Why not get the Ocean Drake on the way? Why not just grab a little consolation prize and feel good about that one? Actually, they're just going to go back. I thought the push would stay alive and well. They decided, nope, we want Zyle part of this one. And we're just going to keep the split push in full swing. Galapa there to do it, but no TP this time. Keeping in mind, crucially, will not have that should a fight break out. I think that's going to be a data point that likes of Manitoba are very well aware of.
Yeah, and this is starting to get, not starting to, it's a very, very dire situation. Manitoba, it's close in kills, it's close in gold, it has not been close in objectives, and even though they have a 9-1 cast, even though their Sivir is super, super online, it just seems like this game is not going in their favor. Maybe it's the coordination, maybe it's just that they're not aggressive. They're trying to make a proactive play here, though.
It's going to be too much. Trying to hold this one out. Porcher playing the defensive angle on the bronze shield, popped away to his teammates safely enough, said, I'm not getting caught, you're not getting caught, we're all together, and had the Glacial Fissure in case they did need to just disengage with a little bit more oomph this time around, and they'll have that now for the engage, thankfully for themselves. Zyle's coming in for the engage as well. Kept is the target they want, but they'll settle for Soya if they can. Kept coming down with Azanya's big play here. That's going to be the fissure to stop Snarfles getting in on the kill. So that's only going to be the GA coming down. Here's Tiger Clone on the backside of things, and that means already Porcher has gone down. This could be a re-engage. This could be the start of the turning around. Tiger Clown's out of that one. Gadapa, he's just bringing up the front line, keeping the minions off this maybe. Wants to get in for a little further. That's actually going to be going easily picking up the kill on Snarbles, who popped the GA earlier. That's going to be more to come. Soya absolutely on the ropes here. He's running back to the fountain. Not going to be enough. They just need to take out one inhibitor, and then they can win the game. But not if Kyucho does go down. If Kep can make this one happen, if he does die here, that's absolutely the end, and it may be the end anyway. 35 minutes knocking on the door at 36. What more can you do for this one? Kep goes down. That's picked up by Gadapa, and game number 2 is picked up by Robert Morris University as they sweep the series. This time the gold lead definitely more in their favor. The kills all tied up. I mean, it was still a hell of a fight on the side of Manitoba, but they just were not able to pull it out at the end of the day, and RMU bring themselves up 2-0 and continue marching on in the postseason.
Sometimes it goes your favor, sometimes it doesn't. Manitoba are going to have to follow that lower bracket and try to fight their way back up. I mean, it's a tough loss, I gotta say. You know, this was an RMU side that they knew what they were doing, and even though Manitoba had some of their members online, even though they had some really, really strong people, they just weren't able to put the fights together. I don't really know if there's a single reason that happened, but it just seemed as though something wasn't clicking. Whatever it was, whatever gear was out of place, it remained out of place until the game actually ended, and it means Manitoba are going to have to reset a bit, right? RMU are going to look towards semis, Manitoba are going to look towards the lower bracket, and we're going to look towards the lower bracket too, because when we come back Thursday, we're going to have some lower bracket games for you.
Yeah, get a little bit more of this action, get a better idea of where everyone's standing, who some of these contenders might end up being to come in and challenge some of these teams we've seen marching along, the RMUs, the Johns Hopkins, the powerhouses that are still dominating this bracket and doing so viciously. We'll get a little bit more context on who those up-and-comers might end up being. But for now, RMU, they're going to take a deep breath. Manitoba, they're going to shake this off, get back to the drawing board, maybe try to make that lower bracket run for themselves. But there's some good teams that they may have to face along the way. At this point, even if you're in the lower bracket, you've come a far way to be a lot better than most of the other JV teams in the country. So it's a lot to think about, a lot to digest. They're going to shake it off, take a deep breath. We are wrapping up for the day, of course, but if you didn't get your fill of esports, there is always Counter-Strike Global Offensive coming up right after League of Legends every Tuesday and Thursday. So follow along for that immediately after. Keep on getting your esports fix. And when we come back on Thursday, like he said, we'll have some lower bracket action, but that's going to do it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kyle Corvus-Crowe. I've been joined by Jeff Zeta-Schnurr. You can always leave us your feedback on Twitter in the lovely tags below our talking heads here. We do love to hear from you. You can also follow at C Star League and let the show know kind of what we can always be doing to improve. But until then, we'll see you next time. Thanks.